what up? My name is Dante Jones.
And I'm Drew Love, and we're They, and you're watching Hot New Hip Hop. I'm from Washington, D.C., like DMV area. And before I was really making music, I was just kind of running around. I was doing the whole school thing that my mom and dad wanted me to do, and that didn't really motivate me the way that I wanted it to. So I remember going in the basement with my buzz, and I threw on a little rap beat, and I was going to see if I could rap. I thought I was nice. They told me I was trash, but I didn't stop doing it. And eventually, it got to the point where we moved to LA, and I met this cat. So it's kind of how the story goes for me.
So I grew up in Denver, Colorado, and I didn't really grow up with like a musical family or anything like that, but my older brother, who I always looked up to, he's like all-state basketball, like just, a cool guy. He started making beats, and so it kind of like inspired me. I was like, all right, well, I want to be like Marv, so I'm going to start making tracks. So, at first I was terrible. I was terrible for years. I didn't actually like really get good for like the first 3 or 4 years. But next thing I know, I'm starting to make it, and I taught myself how to play piano and, started making guitar-driven stuff and, moved out to LA and, after a few years, I met him, and we just linked up and started our own project. I was a big Dipset fan. Joel Santana was like, one of the first people that I ever looked up to as an artist, and I was just like, dang, just his swagger and his delivery, and how he was just completely different than anybody else. Just that brashness to his music was just it touched me from early age.
I think for me at the time when I first decided I first got on the mic at all, I was definitely listening to a lot of Ye and a lot of Eminem. For me, Eminem was my favorite rapper of all time at that point growing up. I feel like that was the most influential as far as a rapper, you know what I mean? But I was listening to a lot of Ye, of course a lot of Drake, and everything that was mainstream at the time. I was a mainstream cat. I did a little bit of digging, but I was really mostly listening to a lot of mainstream stuff and trying to draw influences from there. It's obviously a different perspective when you've been in there and done the songwriting from the ground up and wrote for other people. You get a sense of how to make a song, the structure and what it takes, and melody is the most important thing. Lyrics are also obviously important, but it's just having that background knowledge of how to do it. I've worked with, Jeremih a couple times, Jason DeRulo, a couple people like that, but just having that pop sensibility of structure, it really helped me be able to, when I met him, it was seamless because he had been working and doing the same stuff. What was you working on?
I mean, yeah, I've been working with a lot of people. I work with Kelly Clarkson and Cee-Lo and Chris Brown. And I say one of the biggest differences for me is when it's just us, it's we're the only people who have to be impressed. A lot of times when you work with artists, you got to impress the manager. They got the whole entourage in the room. And if somebody, doesn't like the song, then, it just kills the whole vibe of everything. But, a lot of people immediately started showing love. We got, hit up by Bryson and Timbaland and a lot of other people who were, still from legends to up and comers that were really vibing with our music. So that's the best thing, is to see our contemporaries really feeling our stuff too, people that we're impressed by.
Yeah, and on my end, I had a lot of people that ain't you, that's you that what? I didn't know you was part of They. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of tight to kind of get some credit.
So the album is really an extension of the EP. I mean, the EP was just, when we chose those 3 songs, we still had a bunch of other songs we wanted to put on there. There's still some ideas that we kind of had rambling around. The EP did great, but at the same time, I don't know if I necessarily consider it a completed thought. So a hyena is essentially it's a very small subspecies. It's a mammal, obviously, but it doesn't fall under feline or canine or anything like that. But it has characteristics of all those different animals. So that's kind of what we feel like. We have stuff that's urban, it's 808s, it's guitars, it's singing, it's rapping or whatever. So a little bit we kind of feel like we're hyenas. And even coming up, we're a little bit like the outliers, the outsiders. We're both still learning guitar. I think it's one of those things for me, I'm such a perfectionist that it's almost I don't have time to be bad at guitar. So I'd rather just have the people who are good at it and know how to produce it. But yeah, it's definitely something, especially as we're trying to figure out the live show, and it'd be dope if one of us could actually finally get good enough to play live. So
be nice. Carlos Santana was crazy on the guitar, but I mean Kurt Cobain is, obviously Nirvana, so that's one of my favorite bands of all time. But I know
I'd say my favorite guitar player of all time is Prince. A lot of people don't really give him the credit as a musician just because he's already such an amazing artist and singer. But I mean, that dude on the guitar, like I'm listening to like some of his first albums, and he's just shredding just for minutes at a time. It's crazy. Definitely like a little bit intimidated. You know what I'm saying? It's like the person I idolized as a producer like my whole life. So just to actually be there, like see him in the flesh was like kind of like a surreal moment. But yeah, it's just like Drew said, he was just so like welcoming and like encouraging, and you know what I'm saying? He gave me a lot of perspective on like how to approach tracks, or like when to stop, or when, what's gonna work, what doesn't work. So even just, we worked for pretty consistently for like about a month or whatever, and just that what we learned at that time was, just really dope, and we still utilize it today.
Just kind of trying to take this whole thing over, man. I mean, I want to be in everybody's iPod, everybody's iPhone, everybody's everything. Like, I want name everywhere, because I feel like the music and the onstage performance speaks for itself. So I think we got a big year coming.
Yeah, I really want to mostly really just focus on progression, us progressing, and then also like a sonic progression in urban music, because I feel like honestly things are, like I said, a little bit like sonically kind of stagnant right now, and we have like a real opportunity to take hold of black music and really progress it the way that we always have.